Hi everyone. Today in this video we are going to get started with the data definition language or the DDL comments in SQL Server. In my last videos you have seen how to do manipulation in the database using the records of various tables in the database, and then how to update the data as well. So after those data manipulation language, we are going to learn about the data definition language. So as you know, before manipulation of the data, you need to create the data first. So let's get started with a create table comment. So the following statement here, as you see, this part that I'm highlighting, this statement creates a new table named widgets to track the customer in store widgets. And as you see, the table has been um, preceded with cells, that is schema. So as you know, our bike stores database, it contains the schema cells and the production. So I'm going to create a new table, cells dot visits inside the cell schema. So as you see, the comment should start with in this way, create table, and see the create table is a kind of keywords whose meaning is already explained, and it's supposed to uh, create a table, a newly created table. So it will create a table for the first time, and there you have to specify the name of the table. The next thing will be the various column names that you need to specify and what are their types and size as well. So as you see, the widget ID column is the primary key column of the table, and as you know, the primary key column should always have unique values inside it. Then the identity 1 comma 1, it instructs the SQL server to automatically generate integer values for the column widget ID starting from 1 and increasing by 1 for each row. So if you write 1, 2 here, that means so it will generate the integer numbers for the column starting from 1, but rather than increasing by 1 for each new row, it will increase it by 2. Next, you have first name, which is a varchar type. Maximum size is 50 and it shouldn't be null. Last name, same thing. Widgeted at is a date time format. It's a date and timing format. Data type, and phone is a varchar type and maximum size allowed is 20. Store ID is integer type and no null values are allowed for that, and a new foreign key is being created. That foreign key column is itself store ID, which references the cell stores. As you see, let me show you the columns here. References the store ID column values of the cell stores. So the store ID column of the cells dot fidget should have similar values borrowed from cells dot stores of store ID. That's why here the store ID in cells dot visits acts as a foreign key. So once you select it and execute it, as it's already been created in my dataset, this one, so that is why it's giving that error. But see all the columns that I have created. So that's why I'm getting this warning. So just don't look into that because I have already created it for my testing purpose. This is a basic syntax, that is your create table command in order to create a table in it. So as you see, the column names are specified in here. Widget ID is the primary key and store ID is the foreign key. This is a simple create table command. Now let's do one thing. Let's create a table inside a new schema. Suppose HR. It's not new actually. I have already created the schema HR. So in order to create a schema newly, you could just write create schema and the schema name, and this will be able to, once you execute it, this will be able to give you the Okay, I think it should be gaps. Create schema. Okay. So once you execute it, it will create the schema HR inside the data set. So as I have already created it, what am I supposed to do? I just have to create the table. So first you are going to create the person table inside the HR schema. Then the HR person will be created inside the HR schema with the person ID as the identity and a primary key as well. It starts with the integer value 1 and successively increasing the person ID column values by 1 each time. First name, last name, gender. So using this, you are supposed to create, once you run it, execute it, you will be able to create the table in this way. Person ID, first name, last name, gender. So first you have created this table. So let me check whether I have inserted any data into it just to be sure. So to see everything in the table itself, I'm going to just use select asterisk from the schema name and the table name. So once I execute, okay, what do I have? I have these four column values in this way. I have already inputted these two records into it. So let's see how have I added these two or inserted these two records into the table. The comment should be insert into table name or what column values you want to enter. Specify the name of the columns and just to see the values, output inserted person ID, you will also have, as this is an identity column, automatically these values are inserted by the SQL server. So that's why the inserted portion of the person ID will be added with this first name, last name, and gender values. The same thing I have for the second row as well. Okay. So let's say you want to enter another one row in this way, same thing, and just want to change the name to June, March, and suppose May. So once I try to execute it, so here see it's only outputting the value of person ID because I the wanted to input output the value of person ID. If you don't mention this statement here, you won't be able to see anything. It will just show you query executed successfully. Now let's see, did I insert the row successfully? Yes, it is here. Person ID, June, March, and May. So this is how you can create a table and insert data into it, and after that also you can see whatever data you have inserted.